with you my entire setup for 2020 in regards to planners and journals. I know this is like the craziest time of the year where you get to decide what do I want to use for next year. And it took me a while to get here, but this is the ultimate pile. My 2020 setup. 7 planners in total that I'm committed to using on a daily, sometimes weekly basis, and I'll just walk you guys through each of them by itself. First up, the Hobonichi Techo. You guys who follows my Instagram, Penguins Creative, or listens to me talk about this on the podcast, the Stationery Cafe, will know that I'm like an avid Hobonichi Techo user, and I'm all about them for the past 5 years. So obviously I'm gonna keep using it this year. And I got the cousin sized, which is an A5 in Avec, which means it's split into the top half of the year and the second half of the year. And I've yet to open them because I'm saving it for the New Year's, but just to kind of give you guys a flip through of how I use them. So it's a combination of scrapbook, journaling, keeping cards, and taping in pictures. For example, my most recent trip to Chicago. So things like this, and it really bulks up my Techo a lot, which is why I really needed to use a Avec instead of the whole year, because can you imagine 2 of these side by side? So I'm going to be using this, and in fact I'm actually going to be reusing this beautiful cover from 2019. It's a Mina Peronhan called Tori Tohana. So birds and flowers. And I couldn't resist putting on like a shield around this perfect fabric-y thing. And so yeah, I'm using this as my main everyday journal throughout the entire next year. Second, the 5-year Techo. So I acquired this since 2019. It's the A6 version of the Hobonichi 5-year Techo, and it goes all the way to 2023. And to be honest, I've been using it kind of on and off, and I was determined to not put any stickers and photos in this because I know and I've seen pictures of people bulking it up to extreme heights, and I don't want to do that to the binding because it should stay with me for the whole 5 year. And so what I do occasionally is once a month I'll just kind of go back and try to fill in the blanks. I was really busy kind of in the middle of the year here, so you can see some blank pages. But I've been saving this right side for some reason because I wanted to write in something more special. Maybe I'd be more creative or courageous in the next year or so, and I can put in better things. So this year has been kind of mediocre, so I didn't want to use up this precious space on the right. But next year it'd be fun to go in and fill out the 2020 entries and kind of compare it to what happened this year. So the Hobonichi 5-year Techo. So this would be my once a month planner. So one of the reasons I found in which I hadn't been keeping up with Hobonichi 5-year Techo as much this year, it's been sitting on my desk, but I've been just kind of like lazy about reaching out for it, even though it's just like right there. So what I ended up deciding, if I put it in an attractive cover, maybe I'll be more incentivized to work in it more. And thankfully Hobonichi does not disappoint, and this year I finally gave in and got this gorgeous Woodbird A6 zip cover. And apparently if you don't bulk it up too much, the 5-year Techo would totally fit in this. And look at this gorgeous navy. So here you go. So yeah, this is gonna sit inside this Woodbird. It zips up perfectly, and this will hopefully allow me to stay accountable in the 5-year Techo on a daily basis. So, new additions to the Hobonichi family this year. So you guys might have noticed that I've only just bought these, and these are already 2020, and I'm started using them as well. I didn't use the Hobonichi Weeks last year because I've actually used it in 2018, and I found that I wasn't using it as much. And for 2019, I've been using the A6 English planner, but I couldn't resist these beautiful planners. Come on, look at this. This is the Tokyo Tower in like the bow and tie fabric, and this is this beautiful apple green, kind of witchy and with like the purple letters. And I paired them up with covers from way back in 2014, 2015, I believe. This is a 2015er. This is, I believe, a 2017er. And I use these for special functions. I call them my dedicated hobos. So for the Tokyo Tower, I've committed to using it as a health planner. I found it super useful for the past 2 months to track aspects of my health. For example, on the left, I write about my meals every day. And on the right, I kind of dedicate it to jotting down bodily pains, bodily discomfort, as well as emotional thoughts that I can reflect on or flip back to. And as you guys can see, this is a 2020 planner. I couldn't wait, so I've already repurposed the note pages at the back to make into fall spreads for me to kind of figure out. So this is like the first spread where I had no idea what I was doing, and then it just kind of came to place gradually. And I also repurposed the month in advance, so this is actually March 2021, and I changed it to November, and I've been trying out different layouts, and I can't wait to start using them in December officially this year. Yay! The health planner, I put them by my table, so I write them at the end of the day each day to kind of finalize the end of the day. So this green one is actually a different kind of weeks. It's a mega weeks, which means it has extra note paper at the back, because I intended to use this as a commonplace book or a reference book for work. So I do marketing, I have to write copy a lot, and sometimes I come across repetitive things I have to look up. So I ended up writing down all the things I needed to refer to at the note pages. And I use the monthly calendar as like bullet journal style reference points or indexes. So I can just kind of flip through the monthly to see the topic I was looking for, quickly flip to the back to find them, and I have yet to figure out what I'm gonna do with the weekly pages, but I'll figure it out for somehow. So this has been what I've been taking with me to work on a daily basis, kind of together with my work planner, which I'll mention. So these two are the specialized planners journals for 2020. Speaking of work, I am trying something new this year. So this is a Muji 2020 planner, and it comes in the A6 size, and it's essentially the layout of a weeks but in an A6 format. So you get like the weekly page on the left and blank grid pages on the right. And I got these actually from Taiwan, but it is all like in Japanese because Muji is a Japanese brand, and they very nicely included this little sticker sheets that I've already started using, which has all the holidays in Taiwanese, which is perfect. And so I am planning to use this together with what I've been using for work this year, which is this gorgeous forest letter that I unboxed last year from Hobonichi. That comes in the A6 size, and I'll be using it with this. And I also went ahead and asked my friend to get me these Hobonichi A6 inserts that I can use in tandem with it if needed to. So last year for work, I've been using the planner Take a Note, and it is in a 2 days a page layout, which has been really useful. But what I really hate was, how small the calendars are. So it really doesn't allow much space to write. And so that's a big upgrade in regards to the gigantic Muji monthly calendars. So I'm really looking forward to using that. And plus, this would really, not take up as much bulk. and not take up as much space in my planners. So I'm taking out the outside cover, this thing, because I don't need it, and I'll just be slipping this insert into my letter cover. Here you go, nice and thin. So this is a glorious new addition to my planner lineup that you guys might have seen me gush about on Instagram on Penguins Creative. It's a Nolty Listy, L-I-S-T-Y, and I just discovered this planner this year as well, and I'm so excited about it. I actually originally wanted to use a Hobonichi Techo, which is actually in this size. So this is an A5 Slim. If I were to compare it to a traveler's notebook, it is about the same size. But if you do put it in a traveler's notebook cover, it pokes out a little bit. So kind of, I don't know what's the best way to display it. But this Nolty Listy will be my everyday carry. It's a planner that is gonna hold everything that I need for scheduling. So here, I've repurposed January 2021 into November, and it worked perfectly. So I've already filled it up to the brim with stuff I needed to do, and this is the layout. It's got these vertical daily layouts. That's kind of like what you would see at the beginning of a cousin's Hobonichi, and it's got huge space underneath for you to jot down notes. It's got this grid on the side, so basically the same layout but in an A5 Slim format. And at the very back, there's this whole bunch of grid notebook pages. So I've just been writing down things that are evergreen, things that I would refer to, that I would like to have with me at all times. You know, like journaling prompts, meditation techniques, book list, and yeah, awesome Instagram accounts. And I've been really loving this. It's so thin, so portable, and I kind of have been just using them kind of like I would in the Hobonichi Cousin. And so, you know, writing down to-dos, writing down spending, and look at the gigantic monthly pages. This is another one of the perks of why I really love this planner so much. So I actually got the Loft edition. Look how gorgeous this forest green is. It's kind of faux leather, but what's special about this Loft edition is that the inside lines and grids are all in green as well, and you can't get it anywhere else other than Loft. It took me a while to finally have these in my hands. I use Bai, a proxy service, but I must have this, and it goes really well with the work planner, this forest green. So you can kind of see I definitely have this green theme going on for work. And guess what my favorite color is? Last but not least, hopefully, actually this should be the last, because this just completely came out of nowhere and became my 7th planner for 2020. But as I explained earlier, I actually used Take a Note this year for work in the A6 size, and it turned out to be a little bit too small for work in terms of the monthly calendar. But I had really enjoyed the layout of 2 days a page, and it just so happens to be the 5th anniversary of Take a Note, which is this planner designed by a Taiwanese photographer who works in Japan. So he promotes this and kind of designed this planner for his work, with the goal to being efficient and productive. But I just really love the entire design. Look at the binding. It's kind of similar to what you would see on a Hobonichi without the cover. So it lays flat completely, and it is Tomoe River paper, but thicker than the one in Hobonichi. And I ended up just spending some money and getting this on the pre-order on the A5 size, even though I had no idea what I was going to do with it until last week. This is a 2-day a page. So what's cool about this journal is that it has like this kind of pre-week preview section where you can kind of look at the whole weeks in a glance, and then, you know, the next page would be the rest of the 4 days of the week. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you know, the monthly calendar is big and spacey on the A5 size. And what I've decided to do with this is I'm gonna reignite my passion for journaling and try to journal like how I see inspirational artists and urban journalers or creative journalers in Taiwanese communities do, and actually allow myself to practice Chinese more. I haven't been writing in Mandarin for forever, and so that's something I want to kind of stay accountable for. So I really want to use this opportunity to decorate with collaging, with stuff, and then, you know, write a few short sentences in Chinese every day. Just kind of try not to forget my mother tongue. And the cover is really plain. It's white, but they actually included this clear plastic cover to protect it. It was really pretty. Apparently this year everyone gets like some people gets the free lottery cover, which is really pretty, but I did not win that. So I end up deciding to use this gorgeous Hobonichi cover for this. It's the A5 size Woodbird, also Mina Peronhin. I just think these are so cute. And so inside is this nice beige, and obviously this fits in perfectly well. And I'll be using this together on my table for a daily journaling, or maybe once a week journaling, where I just kind of fill up the page with decorations, write some Chinese phrases, and, you know, have this as a fun creative outlet outside of my Hobonichi. So yeah, that's it. This is my overview of the 7 planners that I'll be using in 2020, and you can absolutely follow me and how I'll be using them and sharing them on my Instagram feed at Penguins Creative. But also, I've been doing something really fun with my friend Phyllis over at Missling Bloom. We've been recording a super cool podcast called The Stationery Cafe. You can download it or listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. But basically, it's a place where we just sit around every weekend and talk about stationery and how much we love all these journaling things. There's a lot of pen podcasts out there. There's a lot of crafting podcasts out there. There's some motivational podcasts, but ours is just really just us talking about things we want to buy, and maybe you want to buy them too. So yeah, look out for those and let me know what you think about the Stationery Cafe. And I'm really excited to start 2020 with all these beautiful planners, and I believe you do too. So feel free to leave in the comments what you think about my setup, and maybe share yours too. Bye.